Uh, all our viewers and our lovers, wherever you are, we are really glad to be here again on our show with Mr. Opinion at Opinion TV UG. Uh, you're welcome, Mr. Opinion. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the show back again here at Opinion TV UG. Um, as our viewers know, we usually discuss, our discussion is always about Israel and the Palestine, the war in Gaza, and all other events taking place in the Middle East, and even the news all over the world. We always have to bring it here, we discuss it, we analyze. So today we're going to be talking about the what is trending right now on Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, all over the world. Uh, Tucker Carlson's interview with Mr. Putin, the president of Russia. Yes, it's been trending all over the world, everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all the news outlets, all the media actually, it's been having attention over Tucker Carlson and the interview. And granted, the interview is out. It has been on Twitter. Anyone can go there and watch it for yourself and listen to what Putin has to say, especially about the war in Ukraine and between Ukraine and Russia. It's really interesting. It's an interesting interview. It has a lot of details. It's a long one, but it's worth watching and listening and know what is taking place. We shall also talk about the war in Gaza, where we're seeing Israel is now forcing the Palestinians from the south, where they were forced to go, saying they should vacate from North Gaza to South Gaza, like between Rafah, Khan Yunis. But now we are seeing Israel is trying to force the Palestinians to vacate from south. I don't know to whether north, where they are planning, but they want them to vacate from the south, especially the Khan Yunis areas. So we are going to be discussing all that with Mr. Opinion today. You're welcome, Mr. Opinion. You can talk to our viewers, say your greetings, and then we start.
Hello, everyone. Let me hope that all of you are fine. A lot of events happening all over the world. As you can see, most of most of
Mm,
what is happening is very sad. It could have been avoided, but I think a particular group of people just decided that it's better if they use the forceful means. I think basically because either they are making profit of the fighting of other people is losing of life is the way they make their money.
mm.
I don't know what to say, but a lot is happening.
That's true, and we are all aware. Those people are aware actually that the military machinery all over the world they profit over these wars. So it is good for them if there is always war because they are making money. That's how the military machinery works. They are selling their weapons, they are testing the new weapons, so it is there to their advantage. However much people are dying, but they don't care actually, they don't give much what the lives of human beings that are being killed. They don't care so much as long as they're making their profits. Mm. So I think let's start with the interview of Tucker Carlson and President Putin. What do you have to say about that? And also all the comments people are making. We've heard that Europe wants to put sanctions on Tucker Carlson. You know all these events. What do you have to say about that?
It's I don't know even where to start because it's kind
Mm,
of weird and
mm,
actually I would say stupid for them to say that you would
mm,
sanction Tucker Carlson for interviewing President Putin. That's not right. We have seen some journalists that even interviewed Osama bin Laden. They have interviewed the president of Iran. They have interviewed worse people than I think worse people than Putin, not to say that he's a bad guy. You've seen Zelensky has been given various platforms. You have seen people that interviewed Bush.
mm,
Bush, I think, is like the biggest criminal. I think all American presidents are international criminals. But you've seen them also being interviewed, and you saw Hillary Clinton trying
mm,
to encounter Tucker Colson's interview by making an interview of her own, in which
mm.
interview she says that Tucker Colson is actually a useful idiot. Now, when someone
Yeah.
like
Mm,
Hillary Clinton comes out and says like that, when you go to hear that most of her foundations actually the money from her foundations is all like through all these illegal schemes, through bloody
mm,
bloody stuff. You're like, what are you talking about by saying Tucker Carlson is a useful idiot? And if there is any conflict that you want to solve, wouldn't you want to listen to the other person? Tucker Carlson, what he did is
mm,
a job that is supposed to be done actually by Blinken, because yes, we agree that they do not agree with President Putin, but why? Why? Because let's go to the interview. Okay, let's see why they don't agree with him. Because even in his interview, he also like said very many times as the reason as to why they do
mm,
not want to talk to him, or they are not they don't not that they do not want, they want to, but they are ashamed, or they don't know how to again start the conversation, since they have been backstabbing him each and every time they sit to make an agreement, they end up walking out of it, or making the people that are supposed to be in the agreement walk out of it. Why? Because at the back of their mind, they thought that Russia proposing an agreement means they are
mm,
weak. So that's why they came rushing and said, no, 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 no. Tell the Ukrainians, don't sign the agreement. If you see this man is telling you he's willing to sign the agreement, willing to agree to all your terms, it means that if we also give you some support, you can win this man. You can win Russia. You can fight Russia and actually win the war, which wasn't the
mm,
case. Russia making all these agreements, extending them to Ukraine, it is because Russia saw them as brothers, as cousins. There is during the interview, there is a scenario that President Putin made where the Ukrainian soldiers were surrounded, and then the Russians were shouting at the Russian soldiers were shouting at them that give up, give up, surrender, and don't die. And they replied to them that Russians don't surrender. Russians don't surrender. He actually laughed and he said, actually, they consider themselves to be Russians. What
mm,
that meant was like, we are all related. It is cousins fighting cousins, you know? We are all related. Even him says that in Russia, you find that someone is uncle, or someone is auntie, or someone is relative is in Ukraine. In Ukraine, the same thing. Someone is uncle, someone is in Russia.
mm,
Now, the Western media was pissing in their pants because of the interview with of Tucker Carlson's interview with President Vladimir Putin, because they thought that he was going to tell on them, he was going to expose them. That's why
exactly.
expose the
Mm,
lies they have been telling the whole world that Russia, the president, is actually like the worst person. He's the worst of the worst of the worst. Like like as we know that the laws apply to everybody else but them. You understand what I'm talking about? Now,
yeah.
during the interview,
Mm,
Mr. Colson asked the president of Russia, asked him a question: what forced you to go into to invade Ukraine, and he gave him a whole history lesson from where Russia is coming from where Russia began, from where Ukraine, how Ukraine is linked to Russia, where they have come from, where they have actually been, to how they have got to where, how they have gotten to where they are right now at this war. But even Tucker Colson, if you look at the facial expression during this interview, you could say that she was not getting anything, was not picking any. She was also confused. She was also
He seemed
confused
shocked, like all this was
yeah,
new to him. He had never heard of all this kind of history. Yeah.
he was confused himself about what is this guy talking about. The question is simple: why did you go into Ukraine? He thought it was just going to be like an interview, like the one he asked Joe Biden, "Why do you do this and this?" And Joe Biden already comes with an answer that he has prepared because of this and this. But this
Mm,
guy, he took his time to introduce, to also use the audience to introduce the world, because already the interview I saw on Twitter already has over 100 million. So he took his time to introduce the world, to introduce Russia to the world, to show them how Ukraine is actually linked to Russia. They are not enemies with the Ukrainians. In fact, even in his interview, he tells you that yes, there's a lot of there will be, this war will end. He says this war will end, and the healing will also come. They will have to
mm,
heal because they will have to work together. So the fact that he recognizes that there will be, the war will end, the Ukrainians will heal, and the Russians will also heal, and they will have to again work together is also a simple indication that he's not planning to like absorb Ukraine. He's not planning to absorb Ukraine. He's not planning to conquer Ukraine and absorb into Russia. He recognizes that there must be a Ukrainian state. Also, in the interview, you're also going to see that after introducing like what the Western media is like confused about is like the interview, like the history lesson. They are calling it propaganda. They are saying he's
mm,
spreading a lot of propaganda. There is no propaganda in that.
mm,
If you listen to that history part that she introduced Russia, showed you where they have come from, he was answering the question of why they invaded Ukraine. He was showing you that Ukraine and Russia are linked. You cannot separate them. Ukraine is with Russia and Russia is with Ukraine. There is no way you're going to separate them and say these guys are with NATO and these ones are, if you do this unless that one is not going to work for him. And he also, during that very same history lesson, he showed you that there was actually a German chancellor or German prime minister that told these guys that you cannot actually continue expanding NATO towards Russia. Otherwise, I'll never come back to Moscow. That was a German chancellor, of which
mm.
even before, now Putin said, now you see that that now has actually happened. Like he foretold what would happen if these people kept expanding NATO towards Russia. So the history lesson was to show these people that
Mm,
this is where Russia has come from. This is how they have been dealing with Ukraine. And this is how we have been handling our security matters with NATO, with this. We have come a long way telling these guys, please do not expand towards our borders. Do not expand towards our borders. They keep expanding. They keep doing this. They keep doing that. And this is how we have gotten to this war.
exactly. Yeah,
So
really, he
the
was so clear about all the borders, what happened, how Ukraine came about, and he told us actually how he went to Ukraine, and he found that most of the like signposts were written in Hungary and Russian, not even in Ukrainian. You see, eh? So these people are really linked. They are more part of Russian, maybe some parts of Hungary, which was like Polish in the early days. But you see, he's so clear about his history, and these are facts. However much they may call it propaganda, we find that these are facts. You can go and search about all this information, and it's clear. Mm,
they are they during that history lesson, he
mm.
said there was a coup in Ukraine,
Yes.
facilitated by the CIA. And later, little did the CIA know that that coup was actually going to lead to all these problems. Because
Mm,
the moment that coup happened, that is when all actually these problems began. That is when all these problems began.
mm,
When the coup happened, he was also again during that period he was also again stabbed in the back. I don't know whether people were listening to what he was talking or they were just arrived for the story. You know, also listening to something when you're already a bias as
mm,
even a is also not good because the Western media is like propaganda, 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 but they're not grasping any points from what you are saying. He says there was a coup by the CIA in Ukraine. That is when all those problems began. Of which the US told him that they should talk to when the coup happened that they should not be like they talked to him to help them make sure that there is no like massacring of people, there is no revolting in the country, there is nothing to keep the country calm, which he did. At the end of the day, what did they do? They again backstabbed him by saying that Georgia and Ukraine were now eligible to join NATO.
mm,
They brought Zelensky into power, and that has been the problem ever since. So before they can say propaganda, propaganda, you see, this guy, there are things he said like when Taka asked him that now, why don't you like he told them all the people he spoke about, said they are still alive.
mm.
Tony is still alive. Bush is still alive. Condoleezza Rice is still alive. Go talk to these people. They're Americans. They're in America. Good enough. They are alive. Thank God they are alive. You can go and ask them if what I'm saying is true or not. Let's leave alone this political propaganda. And this. They are there. They are witnesses. They were there. They were in the room when everything I'm talking about was happening. They were there. So go to them and ask them what really happened. Why did you divert from the plan? Why did you
Mm.
have to overthrow the Ukrainian government? The government that came in power after they overthrew the Ukrainian government and planted their own government started bombing parts of Ukraine that were predominantly like Russian people. Russian people were living in predominantly. Like they are parts like you say that are mostly with the people that speak Russian but were part of Ukraine, like Crimea, here the Donbass. Those parts they started bombing them, bombing civilians just because they are Russian, you know. It is part
Yeah.
of your country where you bombing the people just because they are Russia, provoking the Russians, of which the the authorities in those regions decided to call upon the Russians and say, man, come and help us. These people are finishing us. because the people who they were supposed to run to the Ukrainian government were the ones killing them.
Mm,
So they have to look for somewhere like elsewhere. They have to look for help elsewhere. They could have gone to the United States allies that are surrounding there, but they are the ones who have planted this government, meaning that endorsing the killing of these people to provoke Russia. So that is how, in brief, of this history, of that history lesson, that is what he
mm,
was trying to point out. That the CIA overthrew a government. The government which came in power started killing the people in the regions that were predominantly occupied by Russian speaking people, Orthodox. So they had to come and save the day.
that's true. There's no way they could also sit around when their own people, because these people, they're in Ukraine, but they are Russian. Eh? And you watch them being killed and slaughtered every time. You can't do that. Mm.
And one
Um,
more thing is that we, I don't think this was the best. Even today, I watched a clip of Tucker Colson saying that up to now, he doesn't know
mm,
what happened in the interview. He never expected the interview to go like that. Like,
mm,
I've never seen an interview that goes that way. So he also said it will take him like almost a year to understand
mm.
what actually really happened on that day. You get what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes, made the
Mm,
clip, but he also doesn't know what happened. So we must, we know it was not the best of interviews. However much those Western reporters, they have also some kind of jealous. Let's not forget that to
mm,
happen that it is Tucker sitting before the president of Russia interviewing him, right? They also have that kind of jealous. But besides the jealous, they also have this feeling that why didn't he ask this particular question? Why wouldn't he ask this one? Why didn't he
mm.
question like this? Why didn't he question him like this? That is the reason as
Yeah.
to why. Now, this message I was speaking to those journalists, that is the reason as to why you're not the one sitting in front of Putin and he's the one sitting in that seat. So wait for your time. When you get a chance, if it happens in the future that you get a chance and sit
Mm.
in front
You
of
can
the
ask all
Russian
those
president,
questions.
you can ask the questions you want, the questions you feel that you. This is not an opportunity that comes to everybody. I think that
Mm,
one by now you should even understand it by yourself. That is not an opportunity because even a person who got the opportunity also doesn't know what happened when he reached
mm,
there. He doesn't know the kind of questions he asked. He's still
mm.
trying to figure out what kind of interview was this. So
Mm. And it's
give
not
a guy.
as easy as they think to interview, by the way, President Putin, because he's an intelligent person, he's very wise. So he's deliberate when he's answering given questions. He knows. You can't just toss him around and ask him given questions. You want him to answer them the way you want. He won't. He's intelligent. He knows what
That
you're
is,
looking for in a question.
if
Mm,
you remember in the interview, there's a part where he reached and said, I thought you said you are going to have a serious conversation. That is what he told me. He said, I thought you thought we are going to have, when he started like interrupting him and asking him, like he's trying to still explain this, like trying to, sometimes when you give, someone asks a question and you give a direct answer, someone
yeah.
doesn't know how to go to that answer. So with President Putin, he wants to show you how he comes to that answer, how you get to that point.
Mm,
So, but these Western journalists are not used to that. He wants to ask
mm,
you because for him, because they have already given whichever president they are going to ask the questions they are going to ask. So when they ask, why is this, ta 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 ta, why is this, ta 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 ta,
mm.
and
Without explaining, without giving the background why all this came to this kind of answer. So they want to make it so fast and quick, and that's why they make their propaganda also, whereby they use this question they asked you, the way you answered it, because it was plain, they can toss it anyhow, and they pin things on you. He said this is what he said. But when you explain something, it is hard for someone to just come and say, no, he said this, so it's this kind of pattern. It is very hard. So he gives an explanation and the background so you understand, then he gives you the final answer. So there's context always. With the context, it's very hard to pin something on someone. That's why Putin is very intelligent.
It has been it it is only Tucker Colson that managed to get an interview with the Russian president ever since the war between Russia and Ukraine began. So they
Oh,
must they must praise him for that instead of at least we have got to know what is going on in the head of the Russian president. What is he
mm,
thinking? Why did he, the most of the biggest question is why did he have to invade? Because they are choosing him. You invaded a sovereign nation. You did this. Why did the question is why? You
mm,
understand? That is the question why. So that was why most American politicians and you see those EU politicians are all pissing in their pants because of that question. Why?
mm,
Because in, there is nothing new in President Putin's interview. There is nothing new he said that we didn't know. We all know that the Minsky agreement, these people like threw it out the window. The one that had to stop the war between Russia and Ukraine. It was the Americans that told the Zelensky don't sign this agreement. It was
mm,
the CIA that overthrew the government. The government was there that was there before the ones who overthrew it. It was the Ukrainian government that started bombing innocent people, forcing the Russians to come in to save the innocent people. Like all this bullshit about Russia is coming for us, Russia is the bad guy, Russia is blowing up the north, that Simanias, the northern stream pipeline. All that
mm,
bullshit. They keep saying, okay, they blew it up. He was, okay, they blew it up. Okay. He said there are still two pipelines, one going through Ukraine. So he gave an instance and said, why doesn't German tell the Ukrainians on from the money we are giving you to fight Russia, open the pipeline to allow gas into Germany? He
mm,
said it's there, it's functioning. It is just that it was closed. So turn it on. Because we are funding you with billions of euros. So why aren't they one good time? He said, let them do that. Because for him, he said, for us, we are ready to trade, we are ready to deal, and we are ready to sit on a table and finish up this war we don't have to kill each other.
mm,
So those are the things they didn't want to hear. They didn't want him to say. Because
mm,
people are saying, they are saying that the gas is expensive, gas is like this, oil is like this. He's saying there are still two pipelines, but they are just closed because they go through the countries that are unfortunately are, are friends of the United States. So, which United States told them that okay, we have put sanctions on Russia, so close the gas. On closing the gas, those countries'
mm.
economies are falling, you understand? While the
Yeah.
US is selling them gas at very high prices. So
Yeah.
that's why he told them, okay, they will open it when they feel like they want to open it. Yeah, there's the way he said it in his statement that when okay they feel they want to open it, they will open it because after realizing what is happening, they will open it because the gas is cheap, gas is there.
Mm,
Um, your allies have blown up the pipeline that is supposed to bring you the main gas, but you still have options. And they have also forced you to close those options. After forcing you to close those options, why aren't they giving it to you for free? Why are they still selling it to you? I thought
mm.
that is what allies are. They give you a simpler option, not a harder option.
So in other words, he exposed them for what they are. Like they are doing all this in the name saying Russia is the bad person, the bad guy. They're doing this. Yet it's them back in the back door. They are doing all that. They're crossing the gas pipelines. They are extending the oil instead of ending it. And you see, so this is why they didn't want such kind of an interview to come out from Putin because all this would be exposed. Mm,
Okay, Russia is the bad guy, but the US is is the worst guy. So if this is bad, this one is the worst because you cannot do that to your partners, to your colleagues, to your because when they even asked, he said, I also don't know. German just keeps following what the US tells them, what the US tells them. I don't know what is going on with these guys. Their economies are like in free fall, but
Exactly. Because, like also you said that all these other countries in NATO, they're like on gunpoint, whereby they have to follow whatever the US decides. That's what they have to go with. They can't decide for
and
themselves.
and
Mm,
that's the reason as to why Ukraine cannot join NATO.
mm,
Because when they wake up and say, okay, bomb Russia, what are they going to do? They will
exactly.
just bomb Russia without any question. So that is why it cannot happen.
Mm. That is very clear. Why stop the Ukraine from joining NATO, all those agreements, and the war will stop. Russia has nothing else to do with Ukraine apart from that. If you don't join NATO, there's
Putin,
no war. Mm,
the president of Russia, was clear in his statement. He said, this war is over. It has come to an end.
mm,
Just actually, how do you want it to end? It's a matter of time. The war comes to an end, and it is going to end, and it is going to no end not by them losing, because they said for them there's no more chance that Russia is going to lose to Ukraine. That chance, that window closed long time ago, long
mm,
time. So the war is going to end on which terms we don't know. You want them to first kill everybody so that the war there is no one ending, because for them they said only one thing, denazification. After the denazification of and the demilitarizing Ukraine, the war has already come to an end. These days, the people they find, the Ukrainian soldiers they find, don't fight.
mm.
They give up. You've seen their videos of these people. They are like they're just kidnapping people off the road and taking them to the battlefield. Dang. Hmm? They can't kidnap you from the road and take you to the battlefield and expect you to fight. Of course,
Of
when the
course.
Russians come, because the Russians have put a channel that keeps that is tapped into the Ukrainian radio that tells them if you don't want to fight, it's okay. When we just surrender, for us we don't have any problem with you, and they're not killing them. You surrender,
Mm,
as you surrender, you cross, you go. They're not killing people who are surrendering. That's the interview that these people didn't want to come out. And the more they try to block it, the more they will try to
I
analyze
think
it
they are
wrong.
popularizing
The
it
more,
like they are marketing
the,
it otherwise.
the more they try to make it propaganda is the more I go back and say, I think I had something different. Why are you saying this is this? Okay. If you say King Louis, this, I will have to go and say, is it Putin who's lying? All these
Mm,
people are just like, you go back. So this thing was trying to make it like the interview is propaganda, this and this. He said he's not trying this and this. People want to find out more. In fact, right
exactly.
now, the questions are to really like confirm. They should go and ask those people. He said Biden was there, Clinton was there, Bush was there, Rice is there. Let them go and ask them. Hello, what happened? The man is saying
Mm.
this and this. What happened?
Actually, I think there's something Putin exposed whereby he said there's some agreements they would have come to actually have crossed. Then afterwards, like these presidents of the US, like it's like they are not ruling the country actually. It's like the country is run by someone else. And they would go back and they whatever they agreed upon, it is tarnished down like they don't follow it. Like someone else said. The president also does it, like someone else like they could not agree, which means there's someone behind the US government who makes decisions, not the president.
That's what we have been talking about all along here. That's what even these media themselves, like if you're watching
Mm,
these private media, private channels, this is what it.
mm,
There is nothing new. that President Putin said that we haven't had that is new. Even that
mm,
one, we all know that the U.S. government is controlled by the military industrial complex. They're the ones controlling the military machine. Is the one, the deep state is the one which controls the president. Is the one because they are making money off these wars. Without these wars, there is no way they can make all those billions. So
mm,
the signing the agreement, yes, the president. I don't know which president, which U.S. president was that. Was it Clinton? Maybe that could have not allowed Ukraine to join NATO when he went back to the
mm,
US. That would have meant that they are not going to ever fight with Russia.
mm.
Um, there was also another proposal that he said that they should make, how do they call it? I've forgotten. He said that they should like join themselves together and may build some kind of like missile what? Missile like protection from the missile. I don't for I'm forgetting how
Yeah,
they
they were
call it.
supposed to build. Yeah, you said they were supposed to build ballistic missile systems together. Like they're supposed to be combined and do one together, such that
Uh-huh.
no one should feel terrified from one another. And
Yeah,
these people they
you all have
refuse.
the same thing.
Yes.
Now, when the president, I think it was Clinton, by then he accepted. So when he
Mm,
went to the US, that would mean that they would not be fighting with Russia, right?
yeah.
But when he went back, they told him, "I stupid. We of course we have to fight Russia.
Mm,
If you do that, because we cannot fight with them. Of course, we plan to fight with them in the future. You cannot do anything to
mm,
agree with them. You get what I'm saying? You get the point. That means
yes.
start dealing with Russia on that point. You are making treaties, you're signing agreements, signing treaties, building things with them, doing stuff with them. That means they are not your enemy. That means you are
Yeah.
not going to, you
You're
don't plan on fighting.
you're collaborating together. You're joined,
You know,
and
that,
I think that does not work for the United States and the deep state. For
yeah,
them,
so
it is two sides. There's Russia, there's US.
the deep state told him, are you mad? We plan on fighting with those guys anytime. We plan on fighting
Mm,
with China, we plan on fighting with Russia, so we cannot start dealing with them. And that is how that one went. So all these things, for me, I don't see anything new he said apart from the lesson, the history
mm,
lesson that he gave that people did not actually understand the message that was in the lesson. Everyone is saying what they want, but those who understood, understood. But propaganda, I don't see any propaganda. There is no one who
mm,
spreads propaganda like the propaganda spread by the Western media, by the West themselves. Do you remember Joe Biden saying that he saw that Hamas burnt babies, cut off babies' heads, Israeli babies' heads, and what stuff like. Come on,
mm,
seriously, the president of I even don't know. That is what justifies. That is what justifies. Like he went on the biggest media platform and justified Israel's attack on Gaza. Like these people cutting off babies' heads, ripping out
mm,
babies out of mothers' wombs. Actually, that is abnormal. Raping women. Those are the things that humanity cannot accept. Everyone said, "Oh, if they did all of that,
mm,
it's okay. Let them go and get these guys. Let them bomb these guys." Later, did we know that the IDF killed half of the people that died that day. They killed half the people that died that day. There was no raping. There was no evidence of anybody being raped. There was no evidence of these people cutting anybody's head, baby's head, burning any baby. Man,
mm,
up to almost today, is the Israeli government is running a military war against the Gazan over the Palestinians on false pretense. Yes, they were attacked, but the numbers they said those people feel they did not kill them. They killed their half of. 3 quarters of those people, they shelled half of the kibbutz houses. All the shelling was done actually by them, and they started the war just to essentially cleanse those people. It has always been in their plan, and now they got the chance to do it. So, dang, why not?
you know. And that's what we see even happening right now, where we see after forcing all the people from the North Gaza, like they should vacate and go to the south of Gaza. Now we are seeing after like there's intensive, like there's an intensive fighting in Khan Yunis and southern Gaza, Rafah area. So now they're forcing people again to vacate from these areas where they were forced to vacate before. And what is like, where do they want all these people to go? Mm,
That's that's the biggest question. That's the $100 million question. Now,
mm,
when they when they started when they started this campaign on Gaza,
mm,
they told these people to leave the north.
mm,
Between life and death, these people passed through and left the north. They went to
mm.
the they chased them away from the middle, told them to go even more farther. I
Right.
think those
Yeah.
are areas of communities passing through life and death situations. Those people left, moved to communities. Communities, they started telling them those were safe areas. These people started bombing those areas also too. They would tell them go there and bomb them while they are there. So
Mm,
like that's why those people kept on telling there is no safe area because they would be in the middle, they would be in the north. They tell them go to the south. The people in the south tell them we are also being bombed this side. You
yeah.
really see they are being bombed. Really. In the middle, they are also telling you we are also being bombed. Right now, over a million people, over 2 million people are squeezed in a small place in the south, in Rafah, are squeezed there, not calculating the famine,
Mm,
not calculating the diseases, not calculating, I don't know, but they are squeezed there after chasing them from everywhere and bringing them to that place. Right
mm,
now, they're telling these people to leave
mm.
without pointing them to any other direction. And
And
by the way, there are snipers surrounding even hospitals that anybody that crosses is shot. Anybody that goes through the window is shot. That is the life and death situation right now in the south. They are trying to starve them to death. They try to bomb them, shoot them, and kill them physically. These people have refused to die. Now they are starving them. Still, these people have refused to die. Diseases, they have cut off water, clean water. They have drunk all this water, hoping that these diseases will finish these people. These diseases are not killing these people fast enough for them. Now, what is happening is that they have organized before during the ICJ, they told Israel should allow humanitarian aid to reach to Gaza, right? Now they
yes.
have organized settlers, these settlers of Ben Garcia. They have organized them to go and demonstrate and stop the aid trucks at the Rafah
Mm,
border that are supposed to come into Egypt. So these settlers, they go demonstrate, protected by the IDF. Hmm?
mm,
They are demonstrating, guarded by the IGF, stopping trucks from going into Gaza. Now, they are starving them to death. That one also you have to know. But all these things they are doing them, these people are not dying fast enough like they want them to. So now what is left? Bombing them. Because now they are telling them to go where? Where do you want them to go? Chase them from everywhere in the country. Where do you want them
mm.
to go?
Yeah. Because they can't go back to the north. It is destroyed totally. Like all the residences have been destroyed. The destruction, the north, you can't tell someone to go back where they left. There's no home to go back to.
That is
In
why
the
the
south,
stupidity.
they've destroyed the homes and the residences, and you're still bombing them, and you're telling them to vacate from the south. Where to?
The stupidity, one day took them to Europe and told the Europeans that they should build for them an island in the Mediterranean. The Houthi told them that, you know what, why don't we build the island for the Israelis?
Yes.
And they did. Because this country is Palestine. So these people are down without a country. Why don't we build for them a serious Israeli country there, like this, like the Palm Jumeirah in Dubai?
Mm.
Yeah, and they be there. Why are you saying that you should take these people are the ones with ethnicity to this land? Leave them here if they are quarreling for their land and they are being problematic to you, and go in the middle of the sea, like the way you want to put them there, and start your own invasions there. No one is going to come to disturb you. Be there.
Mm.
You, I like the Houthi. You know, they, I like the Houthi. Their thinking, I think, is, I don't know, I would call it hybrid thinking. Because you cannot tell me that the owner of the landlord should leave and the tenant should stay.
Should stay.
What is the
Crazy. That's really crazy. Yeah. So,
So
anyway,
that is what
I think,
basically
yeah, what is
that
happening is like, yeah, that is totally what you're calling a genocide. You're trying to cleanse and kill everyone, as many people as possible are supposed to die. But like you said, people are not dying enough, like maybe expected or they want it to be. So they are trying all the means, because if you force all these people into one area packed, there's no humanitarian aid, there's no clean water, there are diseases, there's no medicine in the hospitals. Like what you're subjecting these people to death naturally already. Then it's not enough for you. You're still now bombing them. You're putting snipers everywhere. You're trying to kill them as fast as possible, but they are not dying as fast as possible as you think or as you want. So now you're forcing them now where? So it's really, really bad and sad for our brothers in Palestine, especially in Gaza, where they are dying. There's no aid, there's no water, there's no hospitals. It's really sad, and no one is fighting for them. Because Israel, everything has happened, but Israel is doing as they wish. They're still bombing them, they're still bombing hospitals, they're still killing as many people as possible, and nothing is being done internationally. Nothing can be done actually,
in
according to what.
conclusion,
Mm,
as end this, this today,
mm,
um, the US has actually started. I had Biden's statement saying that Israel has been doing things a little over the top, so they have started distancing themselves from trying to like unattach themselves. You know,
mm,
there is a way he said it that they have, as you know, that he has not been in agreement with the Israelis doing things a little bit over the top. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Anyway, whatever happens, Netanyahu wants to keep fighting so that he can keep staying in power. That's what this is all
mm.
about. Netanyahu, whether he keeps fighting or what, for him, his political career is finished. The only thing that will keep it running is the war. And now, as I can now, I think see is that US will not be fighting with Iran anytime soon, like he had planned it. I don't know what move he's going to pull off because you know with these dictators, they are very smart. They are very smart. They can do something and say, "Oh, the Iranians did it." Hey, you know, to
Yes,
they implicate you, they flame you, so that those people come running after you. You know, most of the wars that America has gone running to fight in the Middle East and what? Do you know that they were mostly being planned by the military industrial complex, by the deep state, the CIA? They just
exactly.
they trick them into the wars. There was an incident that people like talking about of the global hawks. You know, a global hawks is these planes that the US sends that go collecting data. So they flew that plane almost
mm,
close to Iran. So they knew that automatically the Iranians will shoot it down during Trump's administration. So the Iranians, of course, shot the plane down. When they shot it down, they went running to Trump and showed him the plan of how they should bomb Iran, this and this and this, and asked them how many people died on the plane. They told him the plane was unmanned. And
mm.
now, this plane, he told them now, if we bomb these places you are telling me to bomb, how many people are going to what? How many people are going
That,
to die? He said, they say, oh, well, maybe 5,000, maybe 6,000, maybe 8,000. Said, okay, then we are not going to do that. That was Trump. Sometimes you just have to say no because you're the president. You can say no when you want to say no. So that is what happened. That is how he shut it down, just like that. He said, okay, then when we bomb inside Iran, those people die. What is Iran going to do? Are they just going to sit there? No. That means now we shall have to go into a full scale war with Iran. He said,
mm.
hey, how many Americans are going to die? All the American asset bases all around the Middle East, plus our allies, those oil wells we are drilling in
Saudi Arabia,
South Africa,
Kuwait,
all,
and
all those
UAE.
are all those
Mm.
are all those are targets of Iran. And can we stop Iran from attacking our assets in the Middle East or nearby? No, there is no stopping Iran. Said A. So you want me to bomb Iran for bombing a
Mm.
machine, killing citizens, and you think they're going to sit there? Then when they bomb our people or our American bases and what's there, and then we use that to say, hey, America, Iran has killed their people, yet we are the ones who have killed their people first. Why were you flying the plane into the Iranian territory in the very first place? That is how they have been pushing all these American presidents into war. Trust me, even now, Joe Biden is praying and wishing, I wish we could go back to October 6th, not 7th, 6th, or maybe 7th, so that we can make a different decision from the decision he has made today.
Mm.
So
That's
that I think let us continue to next time and let us see what is going
mm.
to happen. But from what I see, there is no stopping the Israelis unless America stands its ground and says, no, we are not going to give you any more funds. And if you do this, me, us and you are done. Because they know once they say us and them and that, them and the US are done, the Hezbollah, they are warming up for them up there in the north of Israel. The Houthi are also here. All these people surrounding them are all, there is no way. The only people who have to pull the plug is the US
it's the
government.
best.
Yeah.
That's true. Uh, Thank you so much, Mr. Opinion. I think that is good for today. Let's meet again. Wherever you're watching us, all over the world, please follow us, like, and comment. Okay. Have a nice day and a great evening.